Let's talk about Minnesota, the powder keg.
Okay.
The ICE situation, the legalities of it. I would just like to know your positioning on it from a legality, not even an opinion, but like the legalities of it, the factualness.
We can all agree it's political. In law enforcement, when you have these analysis and these examinations of the facts, you got to ask yourself, is this OIS process driven or outcome based?
Guys, welcome back to the Frame Shift podcast. Today, we've got a really special guest, and this is going to be a fun one, all right? He's an internal affairs officer. His name is Marlon Marrache.
Thanks for the invite. Josh and I met already prior, and really appreciate you, having me on, man, so we can chop it up.
Tell me a little bit about who are you exactly, and then we'll dive right into it.
I did 24 years with the Los Angeles Police Department, spent the majority of my time as a sergeant, and 15 years as a sergeant. And within those 15 years, I got involved in discipline. So I did a tour in internal affairs, and I retired 3.5 years ago. And I just had this idea about putting internal affairs, which your audience is going to pretty much know that in our culture, it's just something we don't even talk about.
Yeah. And even
it's very hush hush.
Even outside of the police kind of thing, like no one really knows about internal affairs kind of.
Besides the movie, Richard Gere,
yes,
and Andy Garcia way back in my days when I was a youngster. So yeah, man, I put it up on YouTube. Now I'm a turned podcaster. I teach internal affairs and
Wait, now tell us a little more about this Richard Gere movie, because for people like me who don't know what internal affairs is, will that help me if I watch that, understand what you do?
Yes.
So tell us about this.
So Richard Gere's the villain. He's like that dirty cop that cuts corners. I think the movie depicts him having a wife, an ex-wife with kids, and he's kind of cool with her. And this dude just goes out and just does some rogue, like corruption type police work. And Andy Garcia is the internal affairs investigator.
Oh, okay.
And so it takes you down this road where it's just awful, and anybody who's watching is like, oh my God.
Those are the best kinds.
And by the way, and it's LAPD. So everybody's thinking, oh shit, these guys are all rogue. These guys are all corrupt. And I'm taking you back to probably, I want to say mid-'80s, 1980s.
And it's pretty spot on too. Then you'd say as in your field that movie is spot on.
The movie is spot on in a sense that if you look at police work, right, law enforcement from a 30,000 foot view, and you take in consideration over 18,000 agencies throughout the United States and north of 800,000 law enforcement officers in the United States, hell yeah, there's corruption.
One of the first movies I saw on TV for some reason, like on like a TNT or something like that, was Street Kings.
Super good movie.
What a great
Another
movie.
good movie. With
that's not Keanu Reeves, is it?
No, it's oh God, you got me thinking now. And he actually goes into an interview, and this is like he's about to just rat on one of my favorite actors.
Who was that? Because I've watched that a few times now, but that was like the first movie.
That's a badass movie.
That is such a badass
As
movie.
we have this conversation, it's going to hit.
And then another one, and to watch.
Best movie thus far.
Does it depict the reality of the situation properly, do you think?
For one, you got to watch it. Two, if you do, the beginning scene where Jake Gyllenhaal with his partner, great actor, are in pursuit, like in that alley, and they're chasing, the bad guys in the car, dude. That is probably as close that comes to that adrenaline and the reasons why you come on to be a cop, man. Yeah. Look, when I came on to be a cop, that's all you want to do, dude, is you want to catch bad guys. You want to get that felony arrest. And, it takes, I suppose it takes a special person. I mean, look at it this way. When chaos, happens, right? So let's say us three are like, I don't know, we're having lunch somewhere, at a restaurant, and all of a sudden someone comes in and just starts going, put your hands up, and they start blasting.
That energy
right?
picks up.
We're all just going to be screaming, and running like, dude, we got to get out of here, as opposed to a cop who actually wants to go to the chaos, to the danger. Exactly. So, but that right there, that movie that's pretty badass, bro.
Do you think those thrill seekers are the majority of cops out there?
Yeah.
In a good way.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, look, The trauma is always going to be there,
Yeah.
you know, from day one, right? And it's a fair question. It's not easy to answer. I would say the short answer will be yes.
Okay.
I think you seek
And I think
thrill.
And I think that's a better thing than if it's, you know, the kid that was bullied in high school and just wants to, you know, I think that is much better of an option than that version.
Right, because you are given a lot of authority, you are given a lot of
Exactly.
power, and so your upbringing, you know, how your parents modeled you, and that all comes into factor. But you have to know that at times when it's chaotic and there's violence, you know, how do you react to that? You know, and nowadays they call it emotional intelligence. I'm pretty sure we're all familiar with EI. And unfortunately, a lot of police academies don't teach EI.
Okay.
For whatever reason, it's not a block of presentation or instruction.
You think it would be?
100%. I think it's super important, but then you do it, you know, later on or afterwards. And I just don't see where there is an EI curriculum implemented into the police academy, because we're asking police officers to learn, law, tactics, and just a host of basic fundamental
It's impressive.
things, if you will, in like 6 months.
Yeah.
And then we throw them out there and say, hey, you know what?
That's crazy.
Good luck
Only 6
and
months.
be safe out there, you know? And so I think EI is super important because you have to know when to turn down the temperature.
That makes sense, but that amazed me. It's in 6 months. Like, how do you retain all that info? All the laws you have to remember. I feel like that's the codes. You know,
You don't. You only know a certain few,
important
which is the
ones.
reason why you exactly. You know, you got to know, and you're right. You're given a lot, not so much authority and power, but you're giving a police officer a lot of responsibility, if you will, when it comes to enforcing the law.
Yes.
And at times you think you know, but in reality you don't. You know, perfect example would be if you have this traffic stop where you think they made a minor violation of an infraction, and that infraction turns into a misdemeanor, you know, arrest, and maybe that misdemeanor that was committed in your presence turns into a felony. So, you know, back in the days, it wasn't really thought that way. You know, police work was way different in the 90s than it is today.
Okay.
Where back in the days, you just see a car and you're like, oh shit, dude, they're dirt. What? Is that a Toyota Camry? Oh shit. Those cars get stolen all the time. Or Honda Accords.
Yeah.
Let's pull that dude over. And you pull him over. Next, you know, you get him out of the car and you start ransacking the car. And what do they teach you? Dope, money, guns. You're either going to get dope,
You're gonna
money,
find something.
You're going to find something. And now that you're under arrest, you're thinking, okay, how am I going to write this up?
That's my question now. Isn't that fruit from the forbidden tree?
Right. So then you start talking about exclusionary rule, fruit of the poisonous tree, and all
Yes,
that good
that's it.
stuff. Yeah, you have a evidentiary hearing.
Because
Because the defense attorney is going to say, hold on a second, how the hell did you get in that car?
my lawyer had a whole case thrown out because of that exact thing. He didn't
Yes.
have grounds to search the car.
Yeah.
Tough luck.
Yeah, exactly. And so, but you know what? Back in the early 90s and the mid 90s, forget about it.
There were no cameras like that. There were no
Pre-body worn
cams.
camera.
Yeah.
And I just think the culture is completely different. You know, I'm doing a bit of a mini series, if you will, about this Rampart so-called scandal in the IA Police podcast, where we have to kind of build a foundation and tell the audience what was Los Angeles like back in 1990, 91, 92, 93, and 94. It was one of the most violent cities. Well, I wouldn't say the most. It was.
Up there with Camden, New Jersey.
100%. So
Okay.
case in point, Rampart, which is not far from here, it's about 6.5 square miles.
Okay.
168 homicides within a 6.5 square miles, with 60 gangs within that 6.5 square mile. In 1 year, we had 168 homicides.
When I first moved here, the first place I went was Watts.
Okay.
And Manchester and Fig to shoot a bunch of music videos.
There you go.
So
That's
I know
where
what I'm
everybody
saying.
knows. Everyone knows Watts, Compton.
Yes.
How close is Rampart to
Yeah.
Compton and Watts?
So that's more
Other
South
side.
LA. That's what
Yeah.
we used to call South Central.
Yeah.
You know, back in the days, you know, now they call it South Los Angeles.
So Rampart is worse than South Central.
At one point it was, yes. So back in the mid 90s, I want to say Rampart led the city in homicides. Where what you're talking about, Manchester and South LA is like 77 divisions, Southeast and Southwest. That's the main, where the Coliseum.
Yes.
And the new bank of no, I'm sorry, the soccer stadium is badass.
I know what you're talking about. It's right across from the highway,
which is a beautiful stadium, by the way. But anyways, that particular area is Southwest, and that is which amazes me, because you go to USC, spend, I don't know, 60 grand a year tuition, and you can just walk like a block or two west,
and it's a different world.
Infested with gangs.
It's crazy. It is crazy.
And just at any point, it can turn very violent.
Is it true that the USC staff or USC in general used to pay the gangs to stay away from back in the day? I heard that was a rumor. I don't know if it's true or not.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'm gonna have to, get back to you on that one, because I didn't hear that.
I don't know. I don't even know where I heard that from.
Right. But what I will say is, it sounds reasonable.
I can believe it.
He just made it up right now. He just wanted
No, I did hear it back in the day, though.
Well, it does sound reasonable, right? I mean, we're going to USC. Hey, dude, don't come here and,
you just stay away.
Just stay away.
Yeah. All right. I think we've had some fun.
Okay.
Let's talk about some heavy hitting stuff, some things that just happened. Let's talk about Minnesota, the powder keg.
Okay.
And it always seems to be Minnesota for some reason. Back when was that? 2021 with George Floyd, also Minnesota.
The Summer of Love.
Yes.
The care centers, the child,
the Somalian daycare centers, Minnesota. I don't know what's going on with Minnesota.
Yeah.
But where more relates to what your specialty is, the ICE situation, the legalities of it. I would just like to know your positioning on it from a legality, not even an opinion, but like the legalities of it, the factualness, if from a bird's eye view, whatever you're comfortable with.
We can all agree it's political.
It's important to know too. Nowadays.
And so what I will say is this: why don't we start off with kind of painting the picture that in law enforcement, when you have these analysis and these examinations of the facts, right? You got to ask yourself, and I'm going to call them OISs, because that's a normal term in law enforcement. We love acronyms, officer involved shootings. You got to ask yourself, is this OIS process driven or outcome based?
Gotcha.
What do you think?
I think it depends who you ask.
Right. That's the problem.
And
right. So to me, it would seem as though, because of its virality, right? Because there's not one news media that's not talking about it. There's not one TikToker, or anyone.
Everybody and their mother is talking about it.
Every single social media influencer is talking about it. My thinking is it's probably going to be outcome based.
I can agree with
right? As opposed to process driven. And then, the needle starts, it starts to turn, because then you got to ask yourself, well, how fair and how impartial and how reasonable and equitable is it to the law enforcement agent that was involved in that shooting? And I don't think we pay much attention to what he is actually going through, right? And I think I said this, in the other podcast where with Max, is like, look, the loss of life is a tragedy, regardless of the circumstances, regardless of what side of the aisle you're in politically. Public safety is number one, right?
Well, here's the thing, though. This is what they were doing. They were trying to create a safe environment for the public. That's why they were there in the first place.
Let's let him go, because I don't even think that they're legally doing that. I don't legally think they're allowed to be doing that the way they're doing it. They're part of ICE they're part of immigration enforcement, and they're not part of police and sheriff's departments and I think there is a legality separation there.
Okay, well, where's the bullshit button? I'm gonna push the BS button on that one, because we're all law enforcement agents.
But isn't there certain, and you tell me, I'm not pushing, I'm just asking. Isn't there certain things that they have to go through and do to be able to detain someone, or do this, that, the third, or even stop someone? Like, an Army guy isn't allowed to stop me if I'm on the street.
Correct. 100%.
But they're still law enforcement. If they're
right.
MPs,
So look at it this way, from a 30,000 foot view, which is the way I love to explain things, is we're all law enforcement agents. Whether we swear in at a federal academy, or we swear in at a county academy, or if we swear in at a municipal academy, and or if you swear in on a private one where, they have the certificates and the standards and all that, right?
I like a private.
Yeah. So there's academies and colleges.
Gotcha. Yeah, no.
Where they're, they have the certification. Hey, you graduate, you're going to be a California Peace Officer Standard and Training Certificate. Basically, you got your license to be a cop.
No, that makes sense.
So
like a USC or someone like.
Yeah, there's one in Riondo. I think there's one called Golden West in Orange County, and there's a couple in Central California, and I want to say there's one in Ventura. With that being said, we're all sworn in, right? We take the oath to protect and serve, constitutional, all that good stuff, right? However, the challenge is that now the agenda is to deport, right? So you have these orders. It's kind of like, hey, these are the orders that you need to go get.
Federal orders.
These, and it's federal, right? So, and then,
that's the top guy.
Right. So, well, not only that, people start having these analysis and conversations, these political analysts like, well, there's the Dortmund Clause and the 11th Amendment that, the state rules and regulations, federals can't do, certain things at a state level. States should be able to handle, or they should take the lead, et cetera, et cetera. Mm-hmm. But at the end of it all, you know what? If you're here legally, then this is, their agenda, you got to go. Right. Now, where it gets, I want to say,
agree with that too. If you're
right,
legal,
and I think where it says, I think where the emotions crank up is when you mix the basket of, well, these are very really hardworking people, right?
Yeah.
And then, but I got a murderer and rapist that I'm trying to get, and so, depending on what news media you listen or focus or you pay attention to,
same story.
Yeah. So, and so, but with that being said, there is a lot to consider when it comes to this shooting in Minnesota. And we're talking about actually Minneapolis, right? Yeah, it's in Minneapolis. So we're talking about the first one.
The first one, because there's another one now.
Yeah. And we already established that you too own a Honda
Pilot. Yes, even worse.
Right.
Same color too, I think.
And we've come to an agreement that if you were thinking about going to Minneapolis, maybe you might want to change your plans.
Guys, let's go down for a trip. Let's do it.
We're renting a car, brother.
Vlogging the whole way.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, though, and I want to ask this question maybe in a different way then. So so there's all these things to consider.
Yeah.
Can you, in your opinion, tell us, was the shooting justified?
I can't give you that because I still don't know all the facts.
Yeah.
But I will say this. For example, I believe he had a cell phone in his hand. Okay. And he's filming. What you also have to keep in mind is that they don't have body-worn video. And so body-worn video is really good evidence, right, of the circumstance of everything that's happening.
And that's what we haven't seen. The general public hasn't seen that.
Yeah, we've seen angles of video. Everybody's got video,
phone,
right?
Yeah.
But we haven't seen his. One, two, we don't know, it's like Grant v. Conner, right? You object to no reasonable standards. Hindsight being 2020, what did you know at the time that you actually engage in deadly force? So that's one analysis that has to be done. Another one is this late case, that we talked about. There's a case called Barn v. Felix, where there's this officer who pulls Barnes over. I think, let me get it right. I think it's. So the deputy is Felix, right? Pulls over this lady named Barnes, and for tolling violations. And I want to say it takes place in a highway, which, by the way, I want to say it happened in Minnesota. Of course.
It's always
of course
Minnesota.
It did. What happens is that he pulls up, right? And at the point of contact, she was uncooperative and she starts reaching for the floorboard.
See,
so for him,
that's clear.
Now it alerts, his suspicion, right?
Yeah.
And he draws an exhibit, right? And he pops 5 rounds. Not only does he pop 5 rounds, but I want to say if you see the video, he opens up the door and she's kind of dragging him along with it, right? And it got all the way to the Supreme Court.
And we won't see that in media.
Let me set it up for you. So the reason why this case is important is because it's not the final frame analysis that you take in consideration, like Graham v. Conner, right? What was going on through your mind at the time that you actually engage in deadly force. There's like 11 things that you ask. I want to say 11 different types of Q&A that you have to ask during that compelled interview, right? So you have internal affairs asking the officer, okay, look, I'm going to ask you what was going on through your mind, et cetera, et cetera. But this particular case not only just takes the final frame analysis, the actual split-second decision, but it also takes into consideration what we call is the totality of circumstances. Okay, so what does that mean? What that means is that we have to go back. I don't know where we go back. Do we go back to when you became an ICE agent? How many times have you dealt with this?
I believe he was ran over in June or July of this year.
We'll take that in consideration. What kind of training? And training is huge. And I really want to emphasize to your audience that training is not what you think training is. Training at times, death by PowerPoint is what we call it.
Okay.
You just show up and you call a PowerPoint. Okay. But even if you had this like really, charismatic instructor, you're like, oh my God, okay, well then when you leave that training, what did you actually learn? Or how do we measure that whatever information that I got you? It's kind of like acting, right?
Yeah.
You go to acting school and you're like, okay, well.
Am I a better actor?
Yeah. Or what did I learn?
Yeah.
What did I retain, as I move forward? Probably with any other profession. So that you got to take in consideration. So there's just a host.
What does a test look like at the end of that PowerPoint? Is it like just a fill in the blank, like don't go 5 miles over the speed limit? Or is it like or is it both? Like you go on the field, do a test kind of thing? Like,
well, interesting you say that, because under these circumstances, you're talking about shooting at a moving vehicle. Mm-hmm. Well, when was the last time you actually trained shooting at a moving vehicle? I will tell you this. I never went through the academy and we had, okay, class, today we're going to grab a car, right? And we're going to give you this scenario. These are the facts. And then you're going to kind of stand in front of the car and then here, we're going to see what you do.
Yeah.
I don't think there's an academy, someone that actually has that particular block of presentation, if you will. Mm-hmm. So that's what I will say is this. A lot of law enforcement agencies do have policies as it relates to shooting at moving vehicles or shooting from a moving vehicle.
I've heard of the from moving vehicles. I've never heard of the
at moving vehicles. Further, it normally says generally prohibited.
Okay.
But.
Okay. We got a but there.
We always got a but.
We always got a but.
Whenever an officer gets involved in a shooting in an OIS, you're always going to have a however, and you got to have a but.
Okay.
You have to. Because you have to explain, well, for one, you got a lot of explaining to do.
Yeah.
1. 2, that explanation and that interview, that's going to cost you your freedom.
Yeah.
Depending on what county or what state you're in, right? We can all agree politics.
On both sides, though, right? You're saying that's going to cost him his freedom if he fires, or is it going to cost her freedom for interrupting?
Well, it's not going to cost her anything because, unfortunately, she's deceased. So we will never hear her side of the story.
If she didn't die, I'm saying.
100%, yes. Let's just say, you're right. Let's just say there wasn't a death and it was a major injury. We're going to hear both sides of the story. What I'm saying is that in today's policing, when you sign up to be a cop, you're not just looking at, I don't know, maybe some punishment for, screwing up, all the tactics that led up before you actually engage in deadly force. What I'm saying is that, hey man, all your actions, and even including at the time that you pull the trigger, you're probably looking at criminal filings. You might go to prison.
But Alec, like you said earlier, these cops want it for the thrill, right? I don't know that the thrill is necessarily, oh my God, I might die today. Because that is a thrill, right?
Well, so definitely some of them.
Definitely some of them.
But also, like, that's thrill seekers. That's like
it is. But what I'm getting at is, like, these cops have milliseconds to decide whether they live or not. You know what I mean? And so it's very difficult.
Yeah. The average OIS is less than 2 seconds.
What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to say, wait, I'm not going to fire at her, and then her girlfriend stabs him or shoots him, and it's like, wow, what do you do?
I see both trains of thought in this 100%. In my eyes, clearly.
Yeah.
Firstly, they have families too. they have lives and they have to get back to them, and they're going to do what they have to get there. That's thought one.
Right.
Thought two, you know what you signed up for. You know the potential risks of it. You know what laws you have to follow. You are paid by the public, taxpayers, and you work for the taxpayers.
Correct.
And there's a responsibility to do it properly because of that. So I see both.
But to your point, that responsibility not only lies on the individual, right? The police officer. I think we're all accountable for that.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
I don't necessarily think it's just law enforcement,
including her, because why is she disrupting? Why is she there in the
I'll go into why I would have done exactly that. If you said everybody's law enforcement. If a CIA agent comes up to me and asks me to identify, and I ask him for a badge number and his name, and he doesn't identify, I'm going to feel threatened, and I'm probably going to run him over, because you are approaching my vehicle with a weapon in hand, you are refusing to identify, and I'm going to defend myself. If you enter my property, we're not out talking castle doctrine.
right?
You know, like...
No, totally. But those are different circumstances.
Are they, though? What's the difference?
A little bit different, because
they're both law enforcement agents, aren't they?
This is
No.
This is an enforced. Go ahead.
Yeah, what I was going to say is, to your CIA agent,
If a police officer refuses to identify, I'm treating it the same way. Let's use police officer there. If they refuse to identify, then I'm going to treat them as an
15
assailant.
ICE agents doing an operation is pretty close to like, hey, I see what's going on here.
Well,
but let me challenge you a little bit,
Okay.
if I may.
Real quick, can I give it a quick example that happened like 2 or 3
Please,
weeks ago
give me-
in California?
Yeah.
There were a bunch of fake sheriffs that showed up to someone's door, knocked. When the people called in the morning, they said, we never sent sheriff's officers out there. This is why getting badge numbers and identifying the officers is so important and shouldn't just be taken lightly, especially if what ICE is wearing could just be bought on Amazon. It doesn't matter if there's 15 people.
That exact situation will put a lot of people at risk too, though. You know what I mean?
In both ways, on both sides.
On both sides, and that's why 2026 it's dicey.
We're
nowadays.
It is. No, look, I see the lens. I see the lens. My only challenge, my counter,
Please
right,
do.
would be, well, if that's, you just got done saying that, I'm going to treat him as he's an assailant.
Yeah.
Okay, so what happens the next day when you call 911 and he shows up?
Well, so wait,
What I'm saying is that if you're going to call if to your example, you're going to call a cop to, hey, he never ID'd himself for whatever reason.
Well, that's major.
And in your mind, no, I get that part. In your mind,
And that's
you're
code
thinking
also.
he's an assailant, right?
Yeah.
You come home tomorrow and your whole house, they took everything in the studio.
Yeah. Everything's destroyed.
You're going to call 911.
Yeah.
That same cop shows up.
Why didn't you identify yesterday? It's
Well,
it's
No,
legally.
he's saying, what if your car's being stolen and you're like, go
Well,
get him,
not only-
go get him, and you're
well,
like, no,
let's-
wait, identify himself first. You need to identify. No,
no.
go get my car.
If I'm asking for you to identify
I
yourself,
understand that.
it's part of your code
I
that you
understand it.
have to do that.
You're absolutely right. Why wouldn't you identify yourself?
Exactly.
I'm agreeing with you with that.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that your state of mind is that because he didn't identify himself, you're going to treat him like an assailant.
I'm going to treat him like someone pretending to be law enforcement.
Okay,
And if
cool.
somene's approaching me as fake law enforcement,
Right.
I'm going to assume they're coming to attack me.
Right. So I show up the next day, your house is burglarized. Hey, Alec, dude, you know what? Yesterday, dude, my bad, dude. I was having a bad day. I didn't identify myself, and here are the reasons why. But you need my help, right? For to investigate everybody taking
That's what I pay the
$1
taxpayers.
million worth of your equipment.
That's what I pay that tax dollars for.
Right. No, I understand that, but
You're not asking him for his badge number.
well, it's not even that.
when he
It's-
shows up.
it's-
The second day.
Well, no. If you want to say I asked for badge, that's cool too. The point is that they refuse to identify themselves.
I understand
on the
that.
scene. I know.
but
make sure Josh understands.
at the time, your emotions are like, "Fuck this guy," right? Or I can't believe.
No. It has nothing. It has to do with the fact that they legally have to do that. They legally have to supply a supervisor if I ask for it. That's they have to.
Okay.
But if your life is on the line and you want them to help
Then
you,
that's my choice to not ask. But if I ask, they have to respond. They have to do that. There is no question there. Like this is code. This is legal. Like this is.
It's and unfortunately we've gotten to that point where we have to ask.
Yeah.
If you're an actual
because we see fake
police
shit
officer.
going on so much.
The point I'm trying to raise is one day we think of law enforcement based on this scenario as if they're either fake, and I'm in a little fear of my life.
Yeah.
But the very next day, I need law enforcement.
But that's because I pay for them. That I'm paying for them with my tax dollars. I pay your salary. You know what I'm saying?
It makes me think that, well, you were kind of like an asshole yesterday, and today you need my help.
Then they shouldn't be cops. That's that other side of thinking where you know what you're signing up for.
True. So if I'm getting throwing rocks and bottles and, with piss and, shovels and all that, true. You might not like it. You're right. You might just not even do this. And then the very next day you're calling 911.
But call me weird, Alec, but I don't think you're going to be rolling your car into the middle of a law enforcement operation or an ICE thing in downtown. You're not going to be doing that and putting yourself in harm's way.
If I'm driving through it and someone tells me to stop with a rifle in hand, refuses to identify, I'm going to treat them as a fake police officer refusing to identify, or someone pretending to be a law enforcement telling me to stop with a gun in their hand. I'm going to treat that as an assailant.
You're going to die.
And then I would
you'll most likely die.
And then I would hope that my legal team that I have would do the work.
Yeah.
Because to me, I don't care. You're fucking up. Like, I just don't care. You're breaking the law. You're breaking the law that I pay you to uphold. Like, this is...
I'd like to stay out of that situation, so I'm going to probably comply.
But
that's how everybody's different.
We're not talking opinions right now. I'm not talking opinions. I'm talking legalities. I'm not talking, oh, this is how I feel. But isn't it weird that you asked him you yelled at him yesterday, but no, he works for...
Right, but when your life is on the line, you have...
At least that's
that shit goes out the window real quick,
But that's an opinion. That's 100% an opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Take the opinions out. Let's just talk legalities and facts.
Yeah.
If you remove legalities and facts, they legally have to identify. Yeah. They legally have to do these things. If I ask for a supervisor, if they're law enforcement and I ask for a supervisor, they need to provide supervisor. These are legal
When guns are drawn with good guys and bad guys, are you going to stop the situation and say, wait, let's go to opinions?
You can't remove, you have to remove opinions. You can't have this talk and put mental opinions in there. If we do that, then we're no better than picking sides on the aisle. If we just stick to facts and factual statements and legalities, which also circles around and makes it even more interesting, because let's say they have completely broken the law. I go and sue the city of Minneapolis. They say, oh, well, they're a federal, and this is just my weird thought process. They say they're federal. We're not dealing with it. You sue the Fed. They're not going to, like, who do you even sue, or who do you come at in order to protect yourself against something going on?
What you're saying essentially is that, let's just say if you identify yourself and do all that, then we're good. Then you're going to follow the law.
100%. Because you're not impersonating an officer. Okay,
right. So impersonating is
the key part.
It's a big lens. It's not just for you, but for a lot of people.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't work for the feds. I'm not ICE. I'm not out there. What I will say, I can only speak from my experience.
Of course.
Right? What I've been through as a cop, LAPD, the first thing you say, hey, I'm Officer Marrache, and this is the reason why I pulled you over. I'm always introducing myself. We got body-worn video. I don't see a big deal. My thinking is body-worn video might be... I think that's next. I think that's coming from them.
I would, just so that there is no question at that point. It's clear.
Yeah.
No,
totally.
And that's my whole thing. It's not opinion based. It's not emotion based.
Right.
I believe these laws are being broken in certain ways, and one of those is if they're law enforcement, then they need to supply a supervisor if requested, and they need to identify.
You can always ask for a supervisor, but people keep thinking that when you request for a supervisor, there's this timeout.
No, it's not timeout.
No, not what No, I understand that. What I'm saying is that the general consensus in the public thinks when you call a supervisor, all of a sudden we're like at a football game, 2 minute, we're taking a timeout. So now I got to say, oh, well, you know what? Okay.
No.
I'm going to stop what I'm doing and just wait for my supervisor. That's not what that really means.
100%. But I can
want to make sure that. Now, the other thing too is
I can call my lawyer during that time and have him do this for me. That's the other half of it.
I've seen it a lot lately. I spend so much time on YouTube scrubbing, and I just, for the life in me, everybody, I'm going to call my lawyer. They won't get out of the car. I got to get my lawyer on the phone. You know what I will say, just again, from a 30,000 foot view, and that's because I'm a little older now. I'm a little older than you, Alex. So,
and I want us to focus on the 30,000 point view. Yeah, that's the real shit.
What I will say this, and you bring up such an important point, because I've been thinking about this lately, and I was talking to my girlfriend about this and my family is, back in the early 90s, mid 90s, even when I came on, people, even with the movie, right? People, right? The community had this, I suppose, disrespect, right? This level of like, wow.
When I grew up,
you're the police.
Yes, exactly.
And you know what? Back in my days, like, oh shit, the police is coming. I better, put my hands in, 10 and 2, right? Mm-hmm. One, because there's a scare. Yeah. I'm like, afraid of this,
and it's a respect. It's just
it's not so much right. It's
back then. Right
then, or or that cop that went to the we used to have baseball cards.
Okay,
I remember when we were a kid, you used to come up to a cop and say, "Hey, officer, do you have a baseball card?" And he'd pull out his park, and like, "Oh my god," And you had this image, whether it was scared, whether it was a happy one, joyful, protective, if you will.
I grew up in a small town, so we had that amazing.
So imagine, right? I feel like we went from like, oh my god, this is like Alabama.
Yeah.
Right.
In a good way.
This is like the best. Like if I was a high school recruit, bro, I need to go to like D1. I want to be a D1 All-American. I'm a 5-star high school athlete. So I want to go to the best, and I want to say that people feel that way. But you know what? That image has watered down completely to the point where people like you, and I don't mean just to point out you, because it's just you represent a lot of everybody else's lens that feels that, you know what? I don't even think you're a cop.
Yeah, literally.
And that's fair.
I might not even think that you're not a cop. I might know you're a real cop, but because you fail to identify, I've got something in the trunk I don't want you to see.
Yeah.
So I'm going to use everything I can to scratch.
You're not a cop. You're not a cop.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm going to use that to my advantage and play with that. When I was arrested, so 10 years ago, I was a much different person. Towards the end of that tale, I was arrested. Have I said it on here? Fuck it. For heroin and a little bit of weed.
Okay.
I was not good back then. 10 years ago, I'm a very different person. I crashed my car doing 60 into a telephone pole. 1-car accident. The ambulance clears me. Cop arrests me, searches my car and arrests me after ambulance clears me. For no reason did they clear me, but they did clear me, okay, which is very important. That means that he did not have grounds to search my car. So when I went to court, the whole thing got dropped. Now, what pisses me off a little bit is that my lawyer, who apparently was some big shot, didn't actively ask to go after that township or ask me if I wanted to go after that township. Right. I would have done that in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
I don't know why it wasn't suggested, but it wasn't. But it's just things like that make you realize these cops don't know what they're doing. They make a lot of mistakes a lot of times, and you got to hold their feet to their fire so that they learn.
That's why you have IA, right?
Exactly. That's literally why.
And so that they don't see the drugs in your trunk.
Yeah.
Well, no. That was yes, but don't twist the point.
Yeah. No, I totally get you. Hey, man, you know what? Thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate that. Don't feel, like you're all alone on this. I had my sister who passed away. Oh God, it's been,
rest in peace.
It's been 3 years now, maybe 4. I want to say 2022, maybe. Anyways, she was a 27-year addict of crack, and my nephew.
I've done the whole everything out there.
Apple didn't fall from the tree. Yeah, he was heroin was his choice. Yeah. So yeah, drugs are killer, man. And with that being said, there is empathy, for me, when it comes to stuff like that. And God bless that, you turned your life around, and that's awesome.
It's about time.
Yeah, no, here we are, man, having that conversation.
But it's those experiences that taught me that they don't necessarily know what they're doing. There are so many things that they might have made a mistake on. And that kind of leads me to First Amendment auditors. And I'm sure, they're your best friend and worst friend at the same time.
I love those.
Like,
love doing breakdowns on First Amendment auditors.
Do you know Sean Paul Reyes at all? Long Island auditor?
Yeah.
So that one with Groton.
Yeah.
That was an interesting situation.
Yeah, I did a little clip on that.
I thought that final one where he went to the house was probably a little bit extreme, but I think leading up to that point was very important, you know?
That was bad.
An intense situation.
So, you know what? There's accountability on both parties.
Exactly.
Dude, you can't be just showing up to a cop's
on private property. You can't,
bro. You can't. Have you seen it?
Not this one.
Okay,
it's insane.
It's you know, and that's debate. It's what they do, you know, and you just can't show up to his house.
And I saw him,
and of course, a dude can't come out with a gun and then spit in his face.
That's and aggressively pursue you
right
all the way. Like you can't. Yeah. But if but Castle Doctrine,
right?
Well, I don't know if Connecticut has that. But.
No, I don't think it's so much that. I think what happens is that. It's just not a smart thing to do.
It's not
as a cop.
Yeah,
I'll tell you. I'll be the first one to tell you in internal affairs. Hey, bro, you can't just be like drawing and having a gun and acting like a friggin' gangster, telling them to get out of my house. I understand what you're going through, but you know,
time and a place.
One of the things about internal affairs in terms of discipline is this term called unbecoming conduct. So when I teach, I always ask people, well, what does that mean? It sounds so fancy. It's like a sophisticated word. And one of the definitions is that it just reflects very negative on the eyes of all stakeholders, especially the department, right? Yeah. But at the same time, we're in the business of it doesn't look good, right? So misconduct, right, conduct unbecoming, is about things that don't look good. You can discipline someone for things not looking good. That's one of those where, like, you know what? You can't be coming out of your house.
So are they legally a problem and it's just like you shouldn't be doing this? Or is it like...
This is all administrative.
Gotcha.
Yeah, conduct unbecoming is one of the allegations of misconduct. It's like a tree where we're saying that, you know what, it doesn't look good.
Yeah.
Like if I was an active cop right now and us three went to a bar and I'm just... You know,
pulling your gun out.
Yeah, what up, dude? And having fun, my badge out.
Yeah.
You know, getting my fucking skivvies and dance. Everybody's filming me.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I was drunk. You know, well, you know what, Marlon? It doesn't look good.
Help. Okay.
It doesn't look good at all.
Yeah.
It's, you know, and everybody's already seen it's going viral.
Yeah.
Right? I got like 1 million views, but guess what? You're going. I'm going to do an investigation. You're going to take some suspension for this.
Mm-hmm. So how do you feel about the First Amendment auditors in general and let's break it down because that's such a big group, but like the people that'll go to like a DMV or a post office and only record in the public space, but you'll still see them get arrested because these cops don't know the law.
Yeah, you know what? It's very controversial, obviously, right? And
why they do it.
Right. Well, you know, people have their motives and their intentions of doing it. I suppose a First Amendment auditor has, you know, intentions of doing this because they want to, I don't know, maybe they want to get arrested.
Yeah, for that lawsuit or what they perceive would be a payday.
Well, I don't know. That's I never thought it that way until we're having this conversation, but I'm thinking to myself, are we like, let's just say us three are First Amendment auditors and we're getting ready to go out there and start filming, go to the DMV. Like
I've thought about that anymore.
Like, are we going to have a conversation like, dude, you know what? We're going to get arrested today.
Let's do this, boys.
You know, but part of it is that
that's the payday.
Is that part of the plan?
Mm-hmm. That's the payday.
I would imagine that would be it, right? Or is it very self-serving? Like, hey, you know what? Not only do I want to go there, but dude, we got a YouTube channel. We got to get clicks and views, bro.
That's it.
That's what it's all about, clicks and views. So let's make this as dramatic as we can.
100.
So we're going to go to DMV and just sit there until we get like beat down or we get dragged out of there.
No, right? I never even thought about it that way.
Well, I mean, you know, there's two sides. Yeah, I mean, that's my point. So I don't know, but my thinking is that if I'm a First Amendment auditor and I'm getting paid to do this, or I'm trying to, you know, gain financially out of this.
Numbers, lawsuit, YouTube rev, whatever it is.
Yeah, rev, you know, whatever, you know, basically it's almost like I'm enriching myself by being in this predicament, right?
So I don't know much about this First Amendment auditor thing, but is this something that you have to be trained by or trained for?
No, you could just show up with a camera to a post office and just wait until they call the cops and then have the cops arrest you and then you get you get to sue the city.
Yep.
Yeah, well,
what's your thoughts?
There's a lot of trained disruptors out there nowadays. That's all I'm saying. That's where I was going.
Antagonists.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, but I think we should
antagonists,
draw a line between what was it during the George? What were they called?
Yeah.
Antifa? Was that?
Antifa, the radical.
Is that the brick throwing people?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
Antifa
would be the paid opposition in a sense, but I think First Amendment auditors are there. Look, not everyone is there to do good for the township and teach them what's wrong and right. Some probably are, but I would say probably 90% of them are there for the paycheck at the end of the day for getting arrested.
There's got to be a motive intentions for you to put all that time and effort.
Exactly.
That's my thinking.
Because Alec, what is did you see the governor of Minnesota coming out and saying, is that First Amendment stuff then where he says,
no.
ICE leave and all this? It's like, why would you want ICE to leave? Is that
because they're not, and please, you know better than me.
I don't know better. I don't even want to comment on that.
What I saw was that ICE is not a part of law enforcement. They are a part of border control or border protection agency or a part of that, which means they don't have the same, they're not allowed to do the same things that police officers do. And they're also not allowed, like I just saw a bunch of little things that separation did make a difference kind of thing.
They don't need the same training as police officers.
I'm not talking about training. I'm talking about what they're legally allowed to, like the ability to stop someone without cause and to detain them. A cop can't do that.
And an ICE agent?
No, a cop can't do that. An ICE agent can't do that either, but a cop can't even do that. There needs to be cause. There needs to be what's it called? Articulable cause.
Wow. Let me
Please explain.
First of all, we're all cops. That's number one.
Okay.
We're all cops, right? But there is boundaries. That I will say. There's rules and regs and boundaries. What I will say is
then should we create a different term instead of the word cop? Should we say police and...
We're all law enforcement officers. Why don't we say that?
What about like a
But let me kind of flush that out for you.
You got it.
Let me paint that picture for you. So if you are a police municipal officer, right? You have the authority to enforce a federal deportation orders, considering that your boss or the chief of police is in agreement with the feds that you can do that. You know, there's and I'd assume a lot of law enforcement agencies, big organizations, LAPD, Dallas, NYPD. Think about big cities, big agencies, police agencies. Mm-hmm. They have police officers that are deputized. They're dual deputies. So
what does that mean exactly?
What that means is that you're sworn in as obviously a, police officer for that town, that state, that county, but you're also sworn in as a federal officer.
Okay.
And so you have that both ability, right? You see what I'm saying? Now, interesting point you bring up, because I would agree with you that if you are going to conduct a traffic stop, like let's just say the feds came to Minneapolis PD.
Yeah.
Perfect example. And they said, hey man, we got, this guy's wanted for murder and rape. Roger that. Okay. So let's have a briefing. Let's go to roll call room and they're going to tell us all about PowerPoint, the whole nine. Oh my God. Okay. We're going after this guy. This is where he lives. My thinking is if we work together, right, we can accomplish the ultimate goal is to effect that arrest. And the goal is always, or it should be for every police officer, is to effect an arrest without using so much force, the most minimal force as possible.
I'd say
depending on the circumstance.
For everybody, including the officer. Safest way, including for the officer.
Right, exactly. But what you also have to realize is that when you are trying to apprehend,
things are going to go down.
Well, a killer, someone who just got done murdering, 10 victims, I don't think they're going to want to go, hey, hi, it's Officer Marrache, and I'm here with, the ICE agent. Oh, you're here to get me? Yeah, you got deportation orders. Oh, cool.
Let me call the psychologist real quick.
It's going to work.
Just let me call my attorney, let him know. Let me make some notification.
Isn't that called a no-knock warrant?
But besides, talking about all these legalities, let's just keep
That's important. That's important.
Well, yeah, it's a warrant. Okay, no knock. Yeah, exactly. Well, if I hear, I mean, if we're going to go down that road, if I hear, flushing the toilet or, oh my God, the police is here. Bro, that knock noise, I don't need 5 seconds. I just need enough articulation to know that, hey, dude, that guy's a murderer and he's about to fucking leave.
But how would you be able to prove that it was him talking? How would you be able to prove it was him flushing the toilet?
That's just it. That's where the circumstances come in.
That's where these lawyers are paid such hundreds of millions of dollars.
Right. And you're going to have that cop, and speak facts.
Body cam is very important.
Body cam is very important. I don't know. Maybe there is, to your point, infrared, drones that, hey, dude, you got 3 people in there. He's sitting in the room and there's 2 other mom and dad.
Or as Max would say, we've got particle dust now.
There you
Ooh, particle dust, yeah.
Or you're deploying around, someone sees, dude, he's sitting in the front, So it just depends on the circumstances. 100%. Let's keep it that way. But the point I'm trying to bring is that no one's just going to go, and say, cool, you've been after me.
Yeah.
Hell, I've been running for 10 years. Let's go to jail. You see what I'm saying? So there is this propensity where you're going to use,
of course,
force.
But I would also say a lot of these situations aren't involving murderers that are being deported. They're like Uber drivers and stuff.
Well, we can have, another conversation about that,
Yeah, I think it's important, though, because I think that's what sets the precedent for how everything else is handled.
And I think I mentioned in the beginning is that the basket is just full of...
It is.
It's full of both. If you and I are, federal ICE agents and we're going after this murderer, not only do we have to go after this murderer, we're risking our lives, which, by the way, who in the hell would want to risk our lives for $120,000?
That's what's crazy.
What's crazy? Why would you want to do that? But let's just say we did sign up and we're all in, right?
Yeah.
Not only do we have to deal with the arrestee, right? The subject, the person that we're trying to apprehend.
The perp.
But now we got to deal with all the other stuff.
Yeah.
And we're probably never going to get there because we're getting rocks and bottles thrown at us.
But do you think they've caused it to themselves by acting the way they have?
I think we're all to blame.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Yeah, we're all to blame.
Definitely agree with that.
Regardless of what side of the aisle you're on, we're both to blame.
Yeah.
That I can definitely say.
I drive Josh crazy. I'm very conservative when it comes to business, when it comes to everything. But in terms of
principle,
in terms of like the way people interact, I'm very straightforward with it.
So can I ask you this? So I know
I'm not left leaning at all in that way at all.
You've made it. I agree with you. They need to identify themselves. We're not arguing that. Now, what do you think about these people just blatantly telling ICE to leave their city and not enforce immigration?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
I think protesting in that way is kind of pointless, to be honest. I think and this is not a call to be physically violent. This is not a call for anything like that. Okay. I'm looking at you right now. This is none of that. I'm looking at whoever's watching this right now. This is not a call to be violent, but I will say, I don't think change happens with these peaceful protests. I think I'm of the belief that the whole system needs to be shocked. The whole system. I don't believe in defund the police. I don't believe in anything like that, but I think the entire system needs to get shocked.
Well, the border has been shut and sealed. We're good there.
Awesome.
Now we just have to get everyone. Now we have to get everyone that's here out.
Yeah.
So that's what we're in the process of doing with ICE. So, but we can jump.
Yeah. Because we've covered this a lot so far.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I agree 100%. I think that we can. You know what? We can do better. And we can always do better.
We can always do better.
We can always do better. We should do better, and it's just unfortunate that we're divided.
Yeah.
We're very divided.
And that's intentional too. I truly believe that the upper powers are trying to keep everything separate.
You know what? I
think
not
cops. I'm not calling police or anything.
No, I understand that. But that goes back to my point that we're kind of divided that way too.
Yeah. Oh,
to your point, hey, I think you're a fake cop.
Yeah.
But then tomorrow you're going to call 911.
Yeah.
Well, I know,
and then all of a sudden you're going to say, you know what? Oh shit, dude, you're the one I called a fake cop. You know what? My bad. I need your help because I just got done, Well,
I'm not going to say my bad. What I'm going to say is, why didn't you identify yesterday?
Fine. And then he'll give you an explanation and apologize.
Alec, I think I know you too well.
I don't care about the apology. You already fucked up.
Okay. But that, and that's.
I'm just getting.
No.
Yeah,
I understand that. It's okay for you to feel that way.
Yeah.
No one's taking that away from you. I don't want you to think that.
I don't.
What I'm volleying back and forth with you to take that emotion away from you.
No, and
the point that I'm trying to raise is, and this is just me. You don't have to agree with me. I think it's just a little hypocritical, and the emotions.
I can understand that.
You see 100%. What I'm saying? Don't look at it from your lens. Look at it from my lens.
I can 100%.
If I apologize and say, you know what, you're right. I should have identified myself. But you know what? You got this gash in your fucking head, and you just got done getting raped. And now so I'm supposed to.
You're thinking there's more important things to do.
No, I'm not thinking that.
Okay.
What I'm thinking is that, you know what? I have to suck up all that emotion for you being a dick and an asshole the day before, right? And now you're asking for my help.
Yeah, yeah.
And I know Alec too well, and I believe that if you were a cop and you were in that situation, you'd be like, fuck this.
Well, I would never be a cop for that very reason. For that very reason.
If they asked you for your badge and you thought your life was on the line, you're like, fuck this, dude. I don't care. I'm not showing you shit.
I'd be a dirty cop. I'll be straight up about it. I'd be a dirty cop. Like, let's not play games here.
So that's where the hypocritical part comes in, which is fine.
100% agree with that. I 1,000,000% understand what you're saying. And
you see
agree with that.
That's all. That's all I'm saying is that a lot of these cops, you know, again, we're focusing on, you know, and I get it, man. We're focusing just on certain lenses.
Yeah.
But you know, I got to flex, man. These are my brothers in blue,
of course,
my sisters in blue, and like I said in the beginning, we're all law enforcement, all of us, every single one. I don't care what level, but we're all together.
I think that does need to get broken down a little bit because it's not all law enforcement. There's the difference between border patrol. There's a difference between sheriff's department. There's a difference between police department. Like a police department cannot do the same things that a sheriff's department can. There are clear differences.
I'm going to call bullshit because you can...
A police department can't show up to a federal building in California. A sheriff's department has to come.
I understand that, but...
That's a clear line.
Okay, but if you commit a crime, it doesn't matter what level you're in.
I mean, you could even say precinct would matter in that point.
If you commit a robbery or, you know, or just a felony, I don't think it matters. If I'm an LAPD...
The law does, though.
How is that? Why is that so?
If Ventura County... police show up here and they weren't called here, my lawyer can then ask, why were you even in this area?
Let's just say they were in the area they were having lunch. They just got done dropping off. They were working. They were in patrol.
It's not your patrol area. That's
True.
That's an actual legality that you.
Well, give me more facts. What are they doing here? You get pulled over or you get arrested?
Or are they trying to save your life?
I mean, it doesn't matter.
No, but would you turn them down if they were trying to save your life as opposed to arresting you for something
you're asking again about emotional questions. You have to remove the emotion. It doesn't matter if they're saving my life, if I'm committing a crime, or
what I want to make sure is if there's a Ventura, to your point, to this example, if there's a Ventura County sheriff, for whatever reason, they're here.
Yeah. Uncalled. Very important point.
Okay. And they watch someone going to 7-Eleven, they shoot up the cashier and they run.
I don't know what a violent crime, I'm pretty sure a violent crime does create a difference there.
So we're splitting hairs.
Well, it's not really splitting hairs, I would say.
But you just got done stating that a Ventura County or someone else from another county cannot perform their duties and responsibilities or even act or their authority on another county or jurisdiction.
My lawyer would tear that apart, like tear it apart.
Fine, you know, you can
in a court of law, like, you know.
Okay, that's fine, Your Honor. We were having lunch over here at this famous restaurant in Hollywood, and we went to 7-Eleven to get a big gulp. And next thing you know, I see someone going in there shooting up the cashier, and they ran out, and we arrested them.
Let's remove shooting. Let's just say they
beat someone up and they ran.
Again, violent. Let's say they stole a bag of chips.
Okay, and all this set perfect. The cashier says, "Hey, man, you know what? They stole a bag of chips. Roger that. You know what? Let's get a Hollywood unit here from LAPD."
Exactly.
Yeah.
No. Exactly. They had to call a Hollywood unit because they're not in their department.
Okay,
or in their district.
Okay, but I'm not letting them go. I'm going to detain them and wait for Hollywood to show up.
That's 5 minutes.
I actually don't know. I'm going to take your word for that one. I don't.
You should.
Yeah. I'll take your word for that one because I don't honestly know how that works.
You should.
Yeah. I don't. I'll take it. And that's what that's what it really comes down to. I know of certain legalities and I don't know of other ones.
Right.
And
on this one, just.
And if I know something, I'm going to stand on my guns. If I don't know, I'm going to look at you for that 100%. I'm here to learn. This is to learn.
Awesome.
Would a cop get in trouble if he did nothing and he wasn't in his jurisdiction or whatever, and he saw a crime and didn't do anything?
I think that's kind of shitty.
Right. I'm trying to
get in trouble. I mean, I don't know, dude. I mean, that sucks because, you take this oath and, your job is to protect and serve, right?
I'm going off of what Alec was saying. I'm like, I'm in the wrong jurisdiction. I'm going to get in trouble here, so I can't do anything.
If I was your boss and we got to jam this dude up, because I think the expectation, especially when you're in uniform, you're in uniform and all that, you have an expectation to act. Now, how it's going to get handled, processed, and procedurally, that's a whole different story.
I see it right. Exactly. I completely agree. I see it like this, Alec. I saw somebody say, just act and ask questions later rather than ask that question up front because of the situation that's at hand, right? Because your life could be on the line. So it's kind of like, just act.
If a cop said that to you, what would you say? If a cop said, say that phrase again.
Just act and ask questions later. Like,
if a cop said that to you,
right? Let's, they used to be back in the early 90s.
We're not talking about. We're talking about 2026 right now.
If a cop
said that to an internal affairs guy right now
about what? We'll ask questions later.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, as long as there's a lawful detainment and you're following the rules, right? And
but how can they know if it's a lawful detainment if they didn't ask questions?
To our scenario, we did paint a scenario, right?
We did. We can use that
where, I'm at 7-Eleven and the cashier says, "Hey, man, they just stole a whole bunch of stuff." Well, okay, that's my witness. That's my evidence. You know what? They just committed a crime, and I can detain them.
With that being said, wouldn't they need to show you video evidence of it happening? Because otherwise I could go and say, Josh stole a camera right now and have him detained.
We can add all these facts and come up with all these scenarios and all these what ifs and do all that. True. But just to stick to this particular scenario, I mean, look, if you're a cashier and you're running out like in suspense going, these guys just, and you're in uniform and you don't do anything, I think I got a problem with you not being a cop. 1, 2, if you do something, at least detain them. I mean, you got legal grounds for detainment, right? You have reasonable suspicion to believe that they just committed a crime.
But you didn't witness it.
Like I said, the cashier is sitting there going,
legal ground? I'm asking you, is that legal grounds for detainment?
You're focusing on a type of evidence, which is video. I don't need to see.
Okay.
I don't need to see video when someone's flagging me down saying, "Hey, they just ran out of here and they punched me," or they took a bar of Snickers and they punched me on the way out. I have to take action. I can't just sit there and go, "Oh, well, you know what? Tell me some more." As a matter of fact, don't you have video in the back? Let's look at that. Well, dude, that dude's probably already 3 blocks out. You know what I'm saying? So again, it depends on the circumstances. But the point I'm trying to drive home is, if we're going to talk about someone from a whole different jurisdiction, a whole different department, just happens to be in Los Angeles,
other jurisdiction as well.
Hey man, if you're in uniform and you get flagged down, you can't just say, "Well, you know what? I'm not LAPD. Sorry, I got to go." You know what I'm saying? So again,
because I've seen that exact situation happen where they couldn't do anything. Like in person with LAPD, they said, "No, a sheriff's department has to be here for us to do anything."
Could be. Well, maybe times have changed.
Yeah,
I think they do that in pursuits. I've seen it.
No, this wasn't no. This was not a pursuit. This was literally just standing out in front of a federal building.
But I've seen it on pursuits, right, where they say the next jurisdiction has to take over, and then those cops that were chasing back off,
like
and then
getting to a state line or something.
Yeah,
like that.
I've seen.
It happens a lot too. Right, you're going to pursue here, you end up in the 405. And,
different jurisdictions.
CHP, you'll take them over. They'll take them over.
That's gonna be a fun handoff. All right, guys, we're getting on the ramp right now.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and you know what? My wheels are spinning in my mind, and you do make me think about the fact that, look, if I was working, again, Minnesota, right? We got to go to Minnesota.
Let's use it.
Let's use
the
Minnesota.
eyeballs off California.
And, we're in a road. We're in a empty road, and there's not much traffic, and I see, you're right, this Suburban fly with tinted windows. And I'm like, oh shit, I don't know who they are, and I'm chasing them now, because they just speeding violation. I got an infraction.
Speeding violation and then running.
And then all of a sudden they tell me, they come out with the mask and there's like no identification. And you're right. Even as a cop, hey, dude, you need to ID.
And we've seen cops.
And they tell me, you know what, whatever, they get back in their car because the murder suspect is leaving. You're right, man. I don't know what I would. Like those circumstances are very.
Philly has also issued a citywide response to this too. Like I'm from the South Jersey Philly area, so they've said don't come to our city. Like we've seen how South Carolina responds. They take Castle Doctrine very, very seriously. But Philly, they said do not come here with masks.
Yeah,
you need to identify, and if you don't, you're getting arrested.
Yeah, I mean, it's controversial, man.
Let's move on.
Let's do it.
Let's talk about some fun stuff for the last 20 minutes.
Let's do it.
What's your most viral clip?
Actually, it's not fun stuff.
Oh,
but it's still
one right now.
Josh set me up for this, okay?
Yeah.
I wanted to say on a lighter note too, but what he's about to say,
that one. But I have another one that's I mean, going off, bro.
Okay.
It's so good. Where they're serving a warrant.
Okay. My favorite.
You got it.
No knock.
You can't help but to laugh.
Is it a no knock warrant?
No, I don't even. Didn't even get a chance to even do anything, and you got to watch it. It's so hilarious. It is. It's almost as if you're like, I can't believe like this is happening in our law enforcement community.
Okay, let's do this. Let's watch it right now, and then we'll come out of the clip and we'll talk about it.
Fuck you! No, I'm trying to keep I give two fucks if everybody hears this. What the fuck? I'm the fucking sheriff and don't even know there's a fucking warrant being served by goddamn county?
There was opportunity.
Oh, fucking stutter, motherfucker! You don't think we ought to fucking know what the fuck's going on?
You guys were notified.
Who? Who the fuck?
Clint Stout and I talked about it. Raymond knew about it in group meetings.
Then you probably ought to fucking verify that shit, because this sitting there fucking, I get a call at 15 till. Hey, goddamn, they're gonna do a warrant. Wanna know if you wanna make fucking us? What the fuck you talking about? How the fuck are they serving a warrant in the fucking county? Well, you gave them commission. They don't give you the goddamn right to run around acting like a fucking deputy.
I suggest you get out of my face.
I suggest you fuck off.
What did we just see?
What you saw is unbecoming conduct an officer. There you go.
Okay, so there's a.
I show this in class. It's exactly what it is. You can't just be acting like, like that in the eyes of the entire.
The sheriff isn't supposed to be acting like that.
And here's the deal. Who's going to investigate the shit? That's an IA. That's an automatic IA. That's like I mean, come on, bro. You can't be dropping F-bombs and going off like that.
That's not in the police
academy. So then who investigates the sheriff? That's what I talk about. So my analysis is
you
like,
guys, right?
Well, we don't know. Well, he's the sheriff. So who does it?
You tell me.
Well, that's my point is that if he's the sheriff of this entire county, well, who's going to investigate his alleged misconduct? I mean, the guy's dropping F-bombs, acting all erratic, disrespectful, unprofessional, et cetera, et cetera. Well, who's going to do the investigation? I don't know. Would it be like the Attorney General's office to do the administrative? Would it be like the DA's? Someone's going to have to do that.
Because sheriff is above IA?
No. He is the sheriff of the entire department. This is the top dog.
But how does IA
Internal Affairs is normally, for the most part, is a sergeant function.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay.
So it's a rank of a sergeant.
Understood.
Right? It's a rank of a lieutenant or a sergeant.
I thought it was a whole separate company kind of thing.
No, it's within.
Okay.
Okay. So the question is, well, they make a complaint against the sheriff.
Yeah, where's that going?
They're going to say, "Hey, Alec, you need to investigate." You're like, "I'm not going to investigate my boss."
Yeah,
like I can't do that. What am I going to? Exactly.
It's a lose-lose situation.
It's a bit humorous. It's funny, but it's a lesson where so if we have the top dog making themselves look real horrible, unfavorable, right, in the eyes of all stakeholders, who investigates this person?
Yeah, like, damn.
Yeah. So
if that was handled properly, he didn't. Clint fucked up. He didn't tell him.
I even say, it was part of the investigation. We got to talk to Clint.
So
Clint's.
But that sheriff should have showed up and been like, guys, come here. What's going on here?
Yeah.
Just simple. Not, what the fuck are you doing?
What was that camera angle, by the way? What
that was the body-worn video of the officer who was filming, one of the partners. So, and he's drinking his energy drink.
Wait,
and I think at one point he says, I told Clint about this 2 days ago. And then he interrupts and he goes, bro, no, you didn't. You've been knowing about this for 2 weeks. As a matter of fact, we've been talking to Clint. Like, you guys knew about this for a while. So if you dig a little more, there's reports and research out there that says that, it ended up being like the wrong location, and they never got the chance to even serve the warrant because of what happened. But the fact of the matter is, when you have this misconduct on the top dog, the sheriff, the question is, who's going to address? And my thinking is, you're going to have to get some discipline, because we can't be having sheriffs just dropping F-bombs and acting like that in front of everybody. I mean, if you do that to your own, see, that's another thing too, is we talk about is that we eat our own. We are our worst enemies. The way cops treat each other, things that we've been talking about, I pull over the ICE agent. He doesn't show me his ID. He wants to be an asshole and a dick to me. And then I'm like, well, bro, you just got done driving like 100 miles an hour in a Suburban. You don't even, I don't even know who you are.
Yeah.
And right.
You're not showing identification.
And so and then if that cop, flexes emotional intelligence, all this stuff, and we do it to ourselves, no any different than this example where we are kind of our worst enemies. So what can we do to make it better?
Yeah, no. And that we're going to hit this very quickly, Josh, very quickly. What was the situation where the unit broke down the door? It was during the George Floyd summer. The unit broke down the door. It was the wrong apartment. The girlfriend got shot and killed.
You're talking about the Breonna Taylor incident.
That, in my eyes, let me tell you, because that'll 30 seconds. That is the most difficult situation I've ever heard. I think the person that wrote the warrant is 100% at fault. I don't really think those officers are at fault. I also don't think the boyfriend's really at fault either. I think the person that wrote the warrant is really but talk to me.
Right. So my suggestion is go into my YouTube channel, because John Maddenley, who was there, was one of my guests.
I am watching that today.
He explains the whole thing.
I'm going to check that out.
And again, it's one of those things where we talk about this sensational landmark. It's historical.
Yeah.
Well, I shouldn't say historical. It's viral.
Yes.
Right. The media sensationalizes.
As they fucking do. Because that's what
exactly.
That's what
but no one ever asked John, hey, what was this process like?
Yeah.
And so what I've realized and what I've learned about the the IA Guy, a police podcast, the podcast where I host, is the common theme has, and you know what, Marlon, the punishment's not really the penalty. The punishment is truly the process. It's what I went through. And by the time they made a decision, look what happened. I mean, my darkest moments, I'm ordered not to talk about it. And let's go with even with an OIS. Imagine you taking someone's life, and you got to live with that. Yeah. I don't know what it's like to pull the trigger and kill somebody, but it's daunting, it's traumatic, and cops have to live with stuff like that. So,
and that's another thing that that's probably the last thing people think about, is just living with that.
Yeah, absolutely. We focus a lot on the sensationalism of the incident, but we don't pull the curtains back and say, hey, you know what was it like, man? And so, yeah, man.
Blue Consulting.
Yes.
Talk to me. That's your consulting firm?
Yes, it's my consulting firm. And what I do is people call me and say, hey, Marlon, I got this IA, I got this investigation. I need you to look at it. And so my job is to grab it with a fine-tooth comb and just go through the entire investigation and say, this thing's got a lot of holes. It's got more holes than Swiss cheese is what I always say. Or I can tell you I did a good job. Yeah. So I'm like the checks and balances. So that's part of the services we offer. The offer is another expert witnesses as it relates to the IA process. I focus a lot of my bread and butter has been lately the false statement. We're accusing a cop of lying. Okay, got it. We think that he's a liar. But how do we go about getting that lie?
And I bet you that doesn't even happen as much anymore with the body cams.
No. Well, not only that, I think what I've learned in our culture is we have a tendency to take things personal and it becomes self-serving. So by the time the investigator turns in, their investigation and tells the adjudicator, the captain, deputy chief, commander, or the chief, says, here, I'm done with my investigation. These command staff have these conversations and they say, you know what? I think Josh and Alec are lying. You know what?
You caught me.
Well, not only that, my thinking is that I don't think they get briefed about the incident, but my thinking is that they just arbitrarily just say, well, I kind of like Josh, but I don't like Alex. So you know what? Just hit him with a false statement. And then next thing you know, you're getting served.
And that's
a year later. And you're like, now you're accusing me of lying. We have this quote in law enforcement that we say, you lie, you die, where it's a death sentence, man. And so I pay a close attention to making sure that if we are going to be accusing people of lying, imagine if someone accused you, forget my profession, and so we do that a lot. And I teach, for Savage Training Group. Shout out to Savage Training Group. I teach a California post-certified course for internal affairs, teach a whole bunch of sergeants who are getting ready to begin to their IA tour and say, hey, man, this is how you should do a very well-written, pleaded, thorough, no stone goes unturned type of investigation. So
I have a question.
Yeah.
I personally would rather it if you, as an outside consulting firm, handled internal affairs.
I agree.
I don't think it should be an internal thing. I honestly thought it, like I said earlier, I thought it was a separate, not company, but at minimum department.
Yeah. Interesting you bring up that point because throughout the last 3 years that I've been teaching up and down the state of California, there's a lot of small to medium-sized agencies. So there's agencies that are 100 or less, 50 or less. There's some agencies that have 20 or less.
The police department I grew up with, 8 police officers.
8 police officers.
In total.
So if you want to make a complaint against one officer and they tell you, hey, don't worry, but I'm going to handle, you're like, hold on a second.
Yeah, okay.
You're like his boss.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, you should outsource it and let someone who's got the experience to do a very, very well.
I would love that. I would prefer that 100%.
Yeah.
I think you should lead that charge.
Yeah, no, I get calls here and there. I'm sure, one day the goal is to get, busier. Perfect example, I got a guest coming in this Monday where he was involved in this tech scandal.
Yeah.
And it was handled by his colleague within this whole department, and all the parties are people that work together. It's just a mess.
Whole bunch of, yeah.
No. Where in reality, if you take, a 30,000 foot view of this, you're like, well, didn't anybody talk about like maybe outsourcing it to a private firm?
Yeah, exactly.
Or someone who's, because you're going to get a fair shot at it. That's all you want.
Everyone, from the civilians to the police, more maybe not the police because they probably like the situation.
Yeah.
But it would make a lot of people more comfortable, I think, overall.
Absolutely, man.
Josh, is there anything else we haven't hit yet besides Blue Falcon? Because I know that's been your favorite term.
I wanted to talk about that so bad, but we'll have him back.
Can we hit Blue Falcon for 30 seconds?
How much time you have?
Josh drops Blue Falcon every 30 seconds.
Oh, he does.
Oh, he loves that term.
He knows.
He knows.
Yeah.
He's a Blue Falcon.
You've learned.
He's lying. We'll investigate him, but,
What I will say is, and this is,
roll the
we
tape.
get to have a little fun, and, my police, if you have a police audience, if any,
there might be 2. I think I have 2.
Okay, cool. So they'll know that there's always one Blue Falcon, at least minimum one in every department.
Okay.
And at least one.
What is a Blue Falcon?
That term is used as a buddy fucker, a snitch.
Okay.
So a rat.
Okay, because the first term had me a little confused at first. I thought it was a little some.
No. We use that term, we shouldn't use it loosely because, there's not many. You don't want to be around Blue Falcons.
Okay.
But the shittiest part about that term is that there's always like one.
Yeah.
And, we can take it to other professions because I'm sure nurses, doctors, architects, actors, social media, there's always one.
Video production agencies.
There's always one.
Are you a Blue Falcon?
No, it'd be like Blue Ostrich or something.
There you go. This is something different. Yeah. So that's what the term is. I don't know. That's a good question. I want to say it came from the military.
Okay.
So we adopted it and it's been in existence for decades.
I love military terms. They're always so much fun. They're the best. All right. Is that it then? Is there nothing else? Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Let's do our outro and let's do a first form. Actually, we're going to have you take one to go. Can you catch?
No, he's got, I already got it.
I'll catch it.
Wait, where's yours? I gave you one.
Boom. Let's show them let's show people what you're about to drink.
New flavor of first form. Okay.
Let's go.
It is the best. There we go. That's how good it is. What? No. Show it in camera.
Dude, it's like
It's okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
beer.
It's amazing.
Champagne, dude. Cheers.
I shook it up for you.
Cheers.
For Josh.
Thank you.
He didn't realize it was carbonated, but
I didn't shake it up. I don't know. Honestly, UPS shook it up.
No,
that box was destroyed by the time I got my hands on it.
I just tossed it to him. So
Truth be known, that my partner and I, when we teach, our goal always is our Monster zero sugar when we teach. I tend to kind of like eat lunch and then my nap time comes.
I know what you mean there.
The down,
Yep.
at 1 p.m. ish.
Especially if you get Ralph's chicken.
So I haven't tried this one yet, but my thinking is it is like Monster's ice, the white can,
The white one,
Monster.
right? Yep.
But it's
my favorite, bro.
But this one's probably better because it has better ingredients. It's cleaner.
Oh, it is.
The first form is very clean.
First, where do I get a whole bunch of these, bro?
He's about to tell you.
If anybody wants to know where to get these beautiful First Form brand new cans that have just hit the public, go to firstform.com/theframeshift. Okay? Or click the first link in the bio.
Okay.
And it's right there.
Let's do it. Because I'm going to order case, bro.
Well, I also want to link you guys up with First Form. I think they would love you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're patriots. They're patriots out of like they're Midwestern
Missouri,
boys out of
Love to.
I would love to
have
link you guys up.
I'll have the whole thing on my show, dude. You guys got to come down.
No.
You're coming to Pasadena?
Whenever you'd like me to, give me a call. I will be there.
Both of you guys.
I would love to.
We'll have a little round table. We'll talk some more.
I'd like to say something else before we close.
Yes.
I think that our conversation, Josh, you of course too, even though you went a little too emotional for me, but it's okay. I still love you, bro.
You went a little too much for me. I still love you. You went a little too much for me.
Still gonna punch you after this, but it's okay.
Yeah. You can get in my guard later.
Oh, I'll get in your guard. Blue Falcon. Buddy fucker. So I think this conversation was amazing. I'd like to think I don't think I challenged you, but I think that your thoughts and the way you presented it definitely challenged how I was thinking and put some great ideas in my head. I think you corrected some thought process of mine, and I appreciate you for doing this. And at the end of the day, I want to learn from my guests. I want to learn from you.
That's awesome, Alec, and I appreciate you guys inviting me. I think, like anything with life, it's all about growth. Mm-hmm. Lessons learned.
Exactly.
And
1% better, as Josh says.
Yes. And this is a way of, I guess it's kind of like a modern way for what we consider to be community policing.
Exactly.
This is to form that partnership and bridge, the gap.
And that's how change is made.
Misunderstanding. And that's how we make change, brother.
Exactly. Thank you.
Pleasure meeting you.
Thank you. Guys, it's been a great fucking episode. Make sure to tune in, subscribe, like, comment, let us know who you want to see. And above all, go get you some First Form. Okay? Go get you some First Form. We'll see you next week.